Coming up this week on the Wet Net Outdoors podcast.
Sometimes they like that.
Right.
Okay, take a shrimp for instance. Okay, a shrimp has an acidic level of around 6.0,
Right.
a high fives. A herring, same sort of thing. Okay, sardines, tuna, mackerel, all these sorts of baits have different pH levels.
Right.
So it's fair to say we're mimicking, if not making a mockery of those pH levels with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay. And that's what I've followed. And if you have an egg that's really bloody, okay, I will take a bowl, right, and I'll put distilled water in it. I'll put a gallon in, right, and I'll dip those eggs in and kind of shake them up and get that blood out of the eggs.
Gotcha.
I'll assist with that,
Yeah.
right, and help get those eggs cleaned up.
Yeah.
And I'll still cure them the same. I'll dry them before I go ahead and re-cure, put them in the cure. When I say dry, I'll lay them out on paper towels and give them 10, 15 minutes to I'll put the open side of the skein downward to kind of get most of the water out.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get this episode rolling, I'd like to shout out our awesome sponsors. First on the list, we have Fish Sauce with the Rod Positioning Gadget, also known as the RPG. It's a slick little tool that'll help you get your rod holders good and tight. Find them online at www.fishsauce.com. Next up, we have Anglers Unlimited. For those of you that like to support local businesses, these guys are doing it right. They have all the tackle you could possibly need under one roof. They also have a huge selection of fresh and cured baits. Robert and his guys are sure to get you lined out with what you need for success. Open 7 days a week from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. Stop in and say hi, and be sure to tell them Clayton with Wet Net sent you. After that, we have Northwild Outdoors. Northwild is the top of the line when it comes to spinner blade patterns and paint quality. They also do custom paint jobs. Go check them out in Anglers Unlimited or Bob's Sporting Goods, and find them online at www.northwildgear.com. And last but not least, we have Coldwater Strong. Coldwater Strong makes the highest quality salmon and steelhead gear for boat and bank anglers alike. Find their gear online at www.coldwaterstrong.com. What's going on, everybody? Clayton Dietz here with the Wet Net Outdoors podcast. After a 3-week little hiatus, I guess you could call it. I've had some stuff going on. I'm not going to go into detail with that, but I apologize for the lack of consistency that I've been doing lately. It's one thing I really prided myself with in the early stages of this, so I seriously apologize, and we're going to get right back on track starting right now. This evening, I'm sitting down here again for part 2 with Keith Archer with the Ultimate Shrimp Cure, Ultimate Egg Cure, and we're going to dive into a lot of stuff. We're going to dive into a lot of information, so get your notebooks, get ready, because it's coming. So before we get too far into this, I always like to give a quick shout out to my sponsors, Talon Rods, Northwild Outdoors. That would have been bad. Northwild Outdoors, Coldwater Strong, Anglers Unlimited, and Fish Sauce. So I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all my listeners. Now we got the rant out of the way. Let's get into this. How you been, Keith? How you been, man?
Days are good. Days are good. Yeah. Things busy at work, staying busy. Been fishing a bit more than have over the years. I took a sabbatical there for 6, 8, 10 years. Had a daughter there that spent a little bit more time with me, and she used to love to fish.
Yeah.
She doesn't love to fish so much anymore. But yeah, we're getting back into it. Obviously, we got an egg cure, we got a shrimp cure. We got to go out and kind of show people what happens with it, you know, how it works and stuff. So
yeah. Part one of the episode we did together. If you guys haven't already, go check that out. We focused mostly on the shrimp cure.
Yeah.
And today, shout out to buddy Aaron Douglas for bringing some fresh eggs.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into some egg curing stuff for the most part. We're going to touch on some shrimp stuff towards the end of the episode, but we're going to focus a lot on egg cure, which is something that I'm super excited about personally, because it's something I'm not well versed in. You know, I did it a handful of times last year and I burned them, and it wasn't a pretty product. And there's guys like yourself that have it down to a science, and you're willing to share the information. So
yeah, I want to bring some more stuff to the table. I think, I'm getting a lot of questions online, social media, on Facebook, Ultimate Egg Cure page, the YouTube channel, Ultimate Shrimp Cure channel that I run there. A lot of people are reaching out and asking some pretty good questions.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much do I really want to share? Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what we got tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. First thing that we're going to do is that we're actually going to dive into curing these eggs that Aaron brought. And for guys that haven't done it already, Keith has a pretty, would you call that a basic video, a basic starter video on your YouTube?
Yeah, I would call it 101 type video.
Yeah.
How to take care of the eggs, process the eggs, butterfly the eggs, how much cure to add, and how I like to do it, and the length of time that I cure.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
that's kind of the basics of it.
Yeah. So Keith's got an episode or a video of that already on his Ultimate Shrimp Cure YouTube channel. So if you haven't done that yet, go check that out. Hit the subscribe button. Help Keith grow this thing, because he's got some cool stuff going on.
For sure.
So you want to get diving in?
Yeah, we've got them here. We've got some Thule eggs that Aaron was kind enough to bring along. We'll start with one skein here. Kind of get a little look at them. We've got some nice opened up, really clean looking. Very clean. Did a good job with these eggs. You want to be very attentive when you're killing fish and stuff like that. I think one of the things that I've noticed is if you beat the heck out of the fish immediately, as soon as he hits the floor of the boat, quite often he'll dump the blood into the eggs. She will dump the blood in the eggs. Okay. So to me, it's a light tap on the back of the head. Let's stun her, toss her in the fish box, toss her in the bleed bucket, and bleed the fish.
Okay.
Cut the gill, let that fish bleed out. Okay. Give it enough time. That heart will keep pumping for quite some time. I don't know if you ever gutted a fish and watched, pull that heart out. It'll keep pumping 2, 3, 4 minutes after you've killed this fish.
Okay.
And it's just pumping all that blood out. So we want that out of the eggs the best we can possibly do so. Now, if there is blood in the eggs, it's real easy to get the blood out. You can use scissors, and I like to use kid scissors. Okay. These are very dull scissors, so they don't pop eggs as we begin to butterfly them. But I'll run these down the back side of the skeins, and then there's a main vein along the top edge of the skein line, and let's kind of work that blood out. But we don't really have any in this to share with you and show you that, as they are very clean eggs. So first things we do, though, is we're going to butterfly them. So I like to cure personally in jars. Okay, a lot of people cure in Ziploc bags. I don't have an issue with that at all. One of the things that's most important is just to do it in a jar that's got enough space, that's big enough. Okay, so I use a gallon jar. So often I'll fill this to half, maybe 3/4 if I have enough eggs in that day to do so. All right, and you can do the same thing in a gallon Ziploc bag. Don't fill it all the way to the top, because you have to shake them up, right? So whether you're rolling them around and shaking them in the jar, or you're shaking them up in a Ziploc bag, you've got to be able to have that room and space to do so.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first thing I do is I'll lay these skeins, lengthwise in my hand. I'll just start down the bottom edge of it, and I'll just butterfly right up as we go through here. Okay. Now that skein's going to open up. Follow me? Then we're going to go ahead and finish right up the backside and butterfly. Then we're going to drop these in 2-inch pieces, 3-inch pieces at a time. Okay.
So one question real quick while you're doing that. So I've obviously, being new to this, I've watched a lot of egg curing videos, and some guys will butterfly them and leave it at that. So why are you pre-cutting them into the small? Is there a reason behind that?
Absolutely. It's when I want to package them and put them away. There's either pint jars or quart jars that I'll choose to put them away in.
Okay.
So if I'm putting them away in a pint jar, if I have them just butterflied, I've got a big piece of skein. You know what I mean? I've got one big long piece of skein that isn't as easy as to match the size of the jar.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I end up with too little, too much, that sort of thing, or I'm having to cut the eggs again later.
Right.
And I don't really want to do that. I want this to be done in the time that, and then the second part is I want all that cure, as this starts to juice out, step number 2 in this, I want all that cure to get between all these skeins and veins and all the things that are, amongst these eggs, and then infiltrate the entire egg itself. I very often see people that cure whole skeins where when they cut the skein open, it'll still be orange in the middle, or it's not even taken cure, right? Technically speaking, if that's left out, that can rot. One of the things about a lot of these chemicals and stuff that we use is they're preservatives. They're the types of things where you're going to prevent molds and bacterias and all these sort of things that will eventually break down and rot these eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we'll keep going down this side, butterfly, 2, 3, 4-inch pieces. We're getting towards the end here. We just slide up, butterfly, cut. Now we've got it in there. Okay. Ultimate egg cure. Okay. When I designed this, my intent was to design it where it had all the necessary chemicals. Okay. A lot of people call me and say, hey, or message me and say, hey, what can I add? We can talk about that. We'll get to that as soon as I get done with this part.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I personally, on smaller eggs, when I say smaller buried eggs, okay, I'll run those around a 1/2 ounce per pound. Okay. This is a 14 ounce. There's 14 ounces of cure in this bottle. Okay. If I get into a medium-sized berry like we're dealing with here, this is my favorite size. If I had 100 pounds of eggs, I'd want them all look like that. Less the eggs I plan to fish for steelhead. I'd like those to be smaller buried.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these I'll run about 3/4 ounce of cure to a pound.
Okay.
All right. And then if I get into a really big berry, a mature Thule, you know, a very late arriving upriver bright, some of these tributaries, you know, they have just very, very big mature hens.
Yeah.
Those I'll use about an ounce per pound.
Okay.
So,
and that's just to help it penetrate the actual berry more, you know? Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
I eyeball it. I don't measure it.
Right.
I get guys calling me all the time saying, "Hey, I've done this exact measurement, and that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But for me, it's just an eyeball type thing.
Right.
So when I'm dumping this in, I'm looking at this. I've got 3/4 of a pound there. I'm probably right about there. That's my sweet spot. Okay. This stuff is potent.
Okay.
All right. Super fine. Careful when you lean in and sniff, because it'll zap you. All right. There's chems in there. Got me. There's chems in there that are pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
You'll end up with pink boogers. You end up with it all.
Outstanding.
So, I'll grab the second skein. We'll run down this one real quick. Okay, second skein here. Again, very clean looking, very beautiful skein. You know, people would sometimes cure this just whole, right? Again, I want it butterfly because I really want to get down the middle. Okay, all the way down, all the way down. Just working my way. Like so. And just keep working. Now the color of these eggs, are you guys seeing the color of these eggs? These are kind of that mid-orange, right? These are going to produce a pretty darn bright egg. You get to those eggs that have an extra pale look to them, like the ultimate egg cure with those eggs, oh my goodness, like they're beyond vibrant. Like it's like there's people that are sharing pictures quite often to my Instagram page or those sort of things. And it's like some of these, it's like, oh, those were paler eggs. Those things are, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Vibrant popping, right?
Yeah.
So finish this. Like so. And we're done, right?
Yeah.
Where did I put the cure?
Right here.
Right here. Okay, there it is. Hide behind there. And then we'll just go again, about that much. Okay. My lid. Where am I put my lid? I don't know where it's at. We do it. Uh-oh. Oh, here it is, right here.
Perfect.
Left it off the side. So next, okay, make sure your lid's on tight if you're using glass, and I'll just roll these. All right. We're just rolling them. We're gonna let that cure disperse through. When you're doing this in a Ziploc bag, it's kind of the same thing, right? The Ziploc bag, you're just going to shake it up, shake it up, and then I'll do this for a minute or so, you know, 45 seconds, just kind of work them, then I'll set them down. All right.
Well, you can see how vibrant those already are.
Yeah, and there's no sun on them. We're in a shaded environment, that sort of thing, and they're already vibrant. Now, 15, 20 minutes, they're going to start to juice. Okay, as soon as they start to juice, I'm going to shake them again. But I'll wait an hour, right? I'll give it. I'm not obnoxiously obsessive compulsive about it, right? I'm not roosting on them, for the lack of better words. I definitely give them, 45 minutes, an hour, and I'll come back and just keep rolling them like this, shaking them up in that Ziploc bag. Put them in the refrigerator. Okay, this is a refrigerator cure. You can do them at room temp. Guys do stuff at room temp. They'll run a day or two at room temp to start, and then they'll finish the process. Now, my process is 7 to 12 days. The ingredients in this cure, all right, one of the things that the most important part is I'm activating dispersion.
Right.
Okay, I'm activating chemicals in here that are going to create an alcohol. Okay, that in 7 to 12 days, they're going to help break down the lipids, the proteins. They're going to break them down molecularly, okay, without compromising the actual egg itself, all right? And they're going to help disperse the oils and smells from these eggs, just natural oils and smells from these eggs in the water column.
Right.
Follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not something other cures do.
Right.
All right. That's one of the reasons that Ultimate Egg Cure by itself is extremely, extremely successful.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Color and dispersion.
Yeah.
All right. I had a question come up online there today, and it was kind of entertaining. Monty Houston, good friend of mine, went to school with him. He messaged and said, "Hey Keith, what if I want to cure these eggs up and be using them in 3-4 days?"
Yeah.
Okay. You can expedite that process. You know how?
How's that?
Thirsty?
Yeah, we've been partying. We've been hanging out out here.
You're looking pretty tore up over there.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Captain Morgan's. All right. It's an alcohol, right? So I'll take and I'll add about a capful per pound. All right. Just dump it all in. All right. That's a sugar-based rum. Okay, so that's super important. Vodkas and potato-based and all these other types of alcohols out there. Be careful; those don't actually do what you want to do.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's very important to pay attention to a sugar-based rum. So I've used Black Velvet. I've used Captain Morgan's, Crown Royal at times.
Yeah.
The funny part is where'd that start, right? And I get that question. Like I've shared this with a few friends and family, over the years, and I've had somebody ask me, how in the heck did you come up with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a friend of mine and I that time and again, we were diehards. We'd get, 150, 200 pounds of eggs a year.
Right.
When we would come back, we'd be curing eggs at his house or curing eggs at my house or whatever. Well, one night, we were drinkers back then, right? We used to get it on a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we had so many eggs that night. I think we had 20-some pounds of eggs that we were curing, some eggs that we'd picked up. He's like, I look over and he's dumping Black Velvet in the frickin' eggs. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're going to ruin them.
Yeah.
Those eggs kicked ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, we labeled them, we fished them. Now, they're not a solve all, right? We didn't crack the code, right? But I can tell you right now, they worked.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things about alcohol is it's acidic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a little bit more acidic, so it's going to drive the pH level down just a little bit in these eggs.
Gotcha.
All right, and then it also is going to reduce everything molecularly, and then obviously help with the dispersion.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Yeah. When in the cure process would you add the alcohol? Would you do it right? Like when you do it just like you did?
Just like I did.
Gotcha.
Right now.
Yeah. And so with adding the alcohol like that, instead of going from a 7 to a 12-day cure process, how fast do you think these would be ready to fish?
You can fish these in 3 days. I'm still going to cure them 7 to 12 days.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's what I do because I want that process to happen with my chemicals initially on their own in the eggs.
Right.
Right. I want that to happen as well.
Yeah.
But to answer Monty's question, that's how I learned to expedite it. Okay.
Gotcha.
That's something that I've done for many, many, many years. And people have watched me on some of these rivers and wondered some of the things that I do and how I do it and where, those successes come from. There's one of them.
Yeah.
Right there.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So not only are you dumping Captain Morgan in your eggs, but you've also got a bunch of different other additives and things that can just boost the effectiveness of these eggs as they are just as is.
Yeah.
What are some of the additives that you'll use? What are some of the conditions you would use said additives, so on and so forth?
Sure.
When would you apply these additives? Are you doing them at the cure process? Are you doing them day before? Just kind of dive into that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. When I developed this cure, one of the things that I learned early on was pH levels. Okay, I noticed when things were more acidic or more of an alkaline-based type level, things changed. Results changed. Okay, and I started to draw this parallel. So when I designed this cure, in the end, I ended up at a neutral cure. So on the scale, you got 0 to 14 on the alkalinity type scale, right?
Right.
pH scale. This is a 7. Comes in dead middle. Neutral as all can be. Follow me?
Yep.
Okay. One of the chemicals that I like to add from time to time is citric acid. Okay. Citric acid is effectively vitamin C. You've tried it before, right?
Yeah.
It's bitter.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what that is?
What's that?
It's acidity.
Okay.
Okay. An orange, right? It's got high acidity levels. Grapefruit, high acidity levels, gives you canker sores. Gives you those lemons. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Those are high acidity type products, right? So when you add those sort of things, a lot of times you've got to balance those back out. Now, sodium sulfite, that's a very popular chemical. Everybody talks about hot cures, sugar cures, all these sort of things. Sodium sulfite on a pH scale is a 9.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take things that reduce the pH, just even the salmon eggs themselves, they're a 5.8 to 6.2. Okay. In that area. The dye, it's an acidic type thing.
Right.
Okay. Sugar, sucrose, all right, that's the most common sugar that's used in coon shrimp and eggs and a lot of those sort of things. That's just a good base sugar that a lot of these cure companies use.
Right.
That's neutral. Okay. That's a neutral. But when you take an acidic type cure, I mean, I've witnessed it time and time again, back in the day before I even made Ultimate Egg Cure, there was other cures that I used.
Yeah.
Right. And I would add sulfite. And all of a sudden I'd get really good results. Well, if you ever tasted the stuff, the cure, okay, taste it.
Right.
It's not going to kill you, right? There's nothing in there that's going to quote unquote kill you. Don't eat it.
Yeah.
Right. But if you tasted it, it's bitter.
Right.
Right. And it's like, well, why? What's the point? Well, that's just how it balanced out.
Okay.
When you added the sugars, the salts, the dyes and those sort of things.
Yeah. All the elements that go into.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, citric acid is something that I definitely would use springtime. Okay. I don't use a lot, right? So per pound, I might put a 1/4 teaspoon in.
Okay.
All right. And it's something that's going to drop the acidity level in my cure. Okay. Sometimes they like that.
Right.
Okay. Take a shrimp, for instance. Okay. A shrimp has an acidic level of around 6.0.
Right.
A high fives. A herring, same sort of thing. Okay. Sardines, tuna, mackerel, all these sorts of baits have different pH levels.
Right.
So it's fair to say we're mimicking, if not making a mockery of those pH levels with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay. And that's what I've followed. Baking soda. Okay. That's got a pH of 9.
Gotcha.
All right. There's a chemical that never gets talked about really.
Yeah.
That people don't really use.
Yeah.
You want to, raise the acidity. Okay. Add baking soda.
Right.
We do that when we're cooking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's effectively what it does.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I would like to share. One last one. Okay. Potassium nitrate. Okay. Also known as saltpeter.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a chemical that, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think any cure company out there uses it.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's a chemical that I'll use throughout the calendar year. I don't add it at the time of curing. Okay. I will add these, whether it's sulfite or potassium nitrate. I will add them at the night before. Okay. I'll thaw my eggs out, bring them out of the freezer, thaw them out, lay them out on paper towels, whatever it may be, and I'll sprinkle those chemicals on lightly, like I salt a potato. Same thing with sulfites. If I'm noticing that my egg cure isn't just quite moving the fish, right?
Yeah.
I'll raise the alkalinity level in that, or I'll drop the acidic level.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I'll do things to alter that, to give those fish something a little bit different to smell.
Right.
Follow me?
Yeah. Yep. So, and we were having a little conversation. We actually went out and we did some trolling around before this, and we had some good conversations. And one thing that you had said was, aside from just adding all these other additives, you've also heard of a lot of people having success with other cures, mixing ultimate egg cure with other cures.
Yeah, no, I get messages all the time, right? I won't necessarily air out exactly what other people are doing, but they're definitely mixing ultimate egg cure 50-50, for instance, with some of these other commercial cures.
Yeah.
There's some guys up there at Oregon City that were sharing some results that I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, I need to go back to the drawing board a little bit, maybe tune this just a hair. Now, I took the eggs up there myself, ultimate egg cure eggs in Oregon City. I didn't have any issues.
Right.
I had somebody say that they were struggling a little bit with it there, and they weren't getting as many bites as some of these other commercial cures, but I went up and did quite well.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So with adding additives and scents and so on and so forth, are there certain fisheries that you're more apt to add these things? So like you had said, for springers, you'll kind of do the citric acid. For fall fish, summer steelhead, winter steelhead, what are some of the things that you would do in those time frames?
Sure. Summer steelhead, probably the easiest fish to catch.
Okay.
They're more of a presentation fish, good bright egg, good bright bait. Those steelhead candy that we make, we've got the videos on how to make those.
Yeah.
They like a little smell, some shrimp oils, basic stuff. I feel like, fall Chinook, they're probably the most notorious given water temp.
Yeah.
Okay. When it really does come down to how and what I do chemically, and especially around this alcohol type stuff. Okay. When we're looking at that, or when we're looking at fall Chinook, they really are. When we get above 58, 60 degrees, we really need to drive dispersion because oxygen temps are dropping.
Okay.
Or oxygen levels are dropping, sorry.
Right.
So when oxygen levels are dropping in the water column, we need to assist and get that, to get the smells dispersing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about like a winter steelhead?
Again, they're just as simple as a summer steelhead in my mind.
Gotcha.
Right? They're more of a presentation biter.
Yeah.
They're a sight biter. You know what I mean? You present to them properly, they're just a big dumb trout.
Yeah.
I don't mean it disrespectfully to a steelhead, but they're easy, right? I mean, you learn to drift fish, it's just next level.
Yeah.
Right? Bobber fishing, that's effectively drift fishing, just toss the float on.
Yeah. I gotta say, little off the walls here, or not off the walls, little off topic. I apologize for the background noise. We're out here, we're on the river right now. We got jet skis and other boats and so on and so forth, but we're making do with what we got. So
we are.
I hope it doesn't sound
fish.
I hope it doesn't sound too messy.
Yeah,
in the background. Man, I just had a question on the tip of my tongue and now it went away.
That's okay.
So obviously your kind of 101 video that you did on your YouTube, you gave some good basic things. As a beginner egg curer, what are some pieces of advice that you would give, do's and don'ts, for somebody who's brand new to curing eggs?
Great question. Don't let your eggs sit long term.
Okay,
that's number one.
Before you cure them.
Before you cure them.
Okay.
So when you know, let's say we're out fishing day, right? I caught a coho, right?
Yep.
Nice looking coho there, nice hen, right? By tonight, those eggs are cured.
Okay.
With me, I'm not letting them sit till tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Not happening. Right? I want them cured same day.
Okay.
I think what happens is people get a little lazy around it, and they don't recognize the fact that the texture of those eggs and what they are can be compromised in time. Right. That's they got blood in them. There's things that are working against them. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep them. And then the other thing is clean them the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
And it's okay to paper towel them. And if you have an egg that's really bloody, okay, I will take a bowl, right, and I'll put distilled water in it. I'll put a gallon in, right, and I'll dip those eggs in and kind of shake them up and get that blood out of the eggs.
Gotcha.
I'll assist with that.
Yeah.
Right, and help get those eggs cleaned up.
Yeah.
And I'll still cure them the same. I'll dry them before I go ahead and recure, put them into the cure. When I say dry, I'll lay them out on paper towels and give them 10, 15 minutes to I'll put the open side of the skein downward to kind of get most of the water out.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too far into this because I got a feeling we're running a little low on time. How we looking? 2 minutes. So certain fisheries require, or I should say, certain tactics require certain textures of eggs. So like with hover fishing, you can get away with a milkier egg, but when you're side drifting or bobber fishing, you're doing a lot of casts. You kind of want more of a gummy bear texture. What are some things that you can achieve different textures with your eggs?
Sure. Lay them out on paper towels the night before, okay, in a Tupperware bin. Basically pull them out of the freezer, right, the day before. Get them thawed out completely. Lay them out on those paper towels in the Tupperware bin the night before. Put saran wrap over the top of the Tupperware bin. Don't put the lid back on because you're going to trap moisture, right?
Okay.
Poke holes in the top of that saran wrap, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes, and allow those eggs to breathe a little bit. Leave them at room temp. That's completely fine. Put them on the counter, grab them the next morning, and put them next to your coffee pot before you go out, right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that'll do it. Now, if you really want to give them a gummy bear feel, sprinkle some sulfite over the top of them.
Okay.
Just dust them like you dust a potato.
Yeah.
Right? That'll tune those eggs up. And actually firm them up more of a gummy bear type feel.
Gotcha.
If you do over cure these eggs, it can happen. Okay, you can over cure eggs. If you put too much cure in, you can turn them very gummy bearish. Right? I'm not a big fan of that. I want eggs that are going to be, texture wise. When those fish mouth it, I want them to pop. I want them to, I want them to be able to taste what they're after.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alrighty, this first segment we got into some really good stuff with egg curing. Obviously, as we already said, you've got your video on YouTube, and there's going to be more to come. This isn't the end of the road. Keith's got a lot of
damn yellow jackets.
Keith's got a lot of stuff he's going to be airing out. So stay tuned on that YouTube channel.
Yeah.
In this next segment here, we're going to dive into some more shrimp cure stuff.
Yeah.
And
I think one of the questions, and complications was happening is people were having a difficult time firming up the shrimp. I've got some answers for that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about that.
Awesome. So look forward to that here in I guess segment 2. So we'll be right back.
Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? We're back here from our little break that ended up being about 6 days long.
Yeah, there you go.
And the reason we kind of wanted to do this nice little long break is because we wanted to kind of show the during the cure process, and now we're here at the end of it. Before we get diving into this, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share it out there with your friends. Go over to Keith's Facebook and YouTubes and do the same for him. In this episode, we're going to talk about some of that egg cure stuff. We're going to talk about some shrimp cure, some of the successes you've had with that. Sorry, I got some cotton mouth going on here. And we'll talk about some riggings and stuff that you use. We're going to dive into quite a bit of stuff here.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So now here we are 6 days later. Your cure calls for 7 to 12 days of cure time. We're on day 6, but for video's sake, we're kind of going to show what to do here at the end of it. Let's dive into it, man.
For sure.
Let's get into this.
So the 7 to 12 days, that's kind of my personal preference, right? I think, again, we talked earlier at the first episode, most of these cure companies, it's, 1 to 3 days, it's short term, and a lot of things happen beyond that 3 day mark. We discussed that earlier, but yeah, take a look at these eggs real quick.
Yeah.
I want to share with you where we're at. Texture wise, I want you to kind of touch these and feel these, right? So these are those baits that we cut. Okay. Now feel those.
Yeah. They feel better than mine.
There's a lot of experience around curing the eggs, right? Again, it's super important to start with a large jar or bag, right? It's super important to have the proper amount of chemicals in as far as the cure goes itself.
Right.
And then cutting these smaller baits, right? Butterflying and cutting smaller chunks is what really helps make this difference.
Right.
But yeah, color-wise, that's tough to beat.
They look fantastic.
They do. They again, this was a little bit more of an orange egg than a pale orange egg. Those pale orange eggs, I can't begin to even emphasize. Those things are off the charts bright once you use those ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the process. So when I'm going to go 1-2 more days with these, right? Before I'm going to freeze them. And when I freeze them, I'll do pint jars or quart jars.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple options there. So when I do so, I'll just take these eggs and move a couple of these things out of the way here. And I'll just start dropping them in. Okay. And I'll just work them as I'm getting them in here. Okay. I've got about half of them in there. And I'll just take my hand and as you can see here, I'm going to pick this up so everybody can kind of see it, but I'm going to massage the edges of these eggs to kind of push them down into the jar, right? And I'm putting pretty good amount of pressure on these eggs. Like you can feel when they want to pop.
Yeah.
They're pretty firm, right? They're going to be dense and that sort of thing. So as you can see, there's still a couple air pockets down in here. Okay. I'm going to work those a little bit more.
And so you're getting rid of those air pockets. That way you're avoiding as much freezer burn as you can, or what's the point behind that?
Absolutely. So oxygen is your enemy,
right?
So if you have drier eggs, if you like these, there's not as much juice in these as maybe a smaller egg or an egg that may have gone a little longer term out of the fish before I cured them. So if I went 24 to 36 hours out of the fish before I cured them, those are going to produce a little bit softer egg, and they're also going to be a little bit more juicy. Okay, so I'm going to have more juice, residual juice in the end that I can pour back into to help fill those voids, those oxygen gaps in the jar, right?
Yeah.
These are there's very, very little juice. Okay,
Gotcha.
These are just about perfect in my eyes. But what I'm going to do in a lot of these situations is if I intend to keep these long term, and I say long term freezer term, I will vacuum seal them. Okay. I'll put the vacuum seal lid on, suck the oxygen out, and then that drier egg will last longer in the freezer.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Good buddy Michael Wooten with Anglers Unlimited. I was talking to him earlier.
Yeah.
And he had said something about maybe adding some of that Potski egg nectar in there to fill that space. Is that something that you would do, or is that anything you have experience with?
That's a good one, right? That's obviously a product that's been successful in the past. I've heard people speak of it, and people have had good successes with it. I personally don't have any experience with it.
Okay.
But I do believe that the way I have this cure set up, one would just have to try it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I genuinely think that if you had enough eggs to put away, it probably wouldn't be my first jar I'd put away.
Right.
But if I had excess eggs, if I was, going to fish 20, 30 pounds a year and I had 40 or 50, I'm going to start experimenting.
Right.
That's where I start mixing with other cures and I start doing other things that we spoke of in that first segment.
Yeah.
Definitely go with what you know.
Yeah.
to start. And then in the end, that's how we learn. I mean, that's how I got the level I got to, right? It was having those excess eggs, fishing 200 plus pounds eggs a year, where that first 50, 75, 100 was this cure and this cure only. And I knew exactly what was in them and how much and the whole thing. And then it was like, all right, the rest of these are for experimenting. Ironically, that's the main reason I guided, was all those extra fishing rods poking out of my boat like a porcupine. They were all using different test baits. That's what that was all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just working these eggs in. And that's about where we're at right there. When you fill these jars, okay, you see where we're at? Okay, you get too much more than that, all right, you risk blowing a jar up when you freeze them, because these eggs will expand, okay, when they freeze. And usually once a year I'll walk out and I'll see a jar where it's got a crack down the side. It's like, oh crap. You got to be careful when you thaw those, because if that jar comes apart, obviously that's no fun. But that's exactly what I would do. I'd label them, okay, date them, that sort of thing. Ultimate egg cure, whatever mixes you had, whatever chemicals you did, extra, that sort of thing, and a date, obviously, and then the amount of time that you cured these eggs. I think it's really important to make note of that. If it's a 6-day cure, a 7-day, a 10-day, a 12-day, make note, because you're going to see different results with that, for sure.
Gotcha. How long, out of curiosity, how long would eggs stay good in the freezer? Is it just until you fish them?
If you can get the oxygen out and you can fill the voids of oxygen with juices and those sort of things, or vacuum seal them, as I spoke of earlier. I have eggs that I share on the Facebook page quite often. I've shared pictures of eggs from 2001 that I recently fished.
Oh, really?
2005, just the other day. I have a picture that I could share with you. 2005, and they looked as crispy and clean and perfect. I mean, the top layer was, quarter inch, half inch deep of a little bit of freezer burn. Peeled those off, chucked them in the water, and the rest was A+.
Yeah, very cool. So in terms of after cure care, that's pretty much the gist of it. There's nothing else that you would kind of what's the word I'm thinking of here? Advise people to do? I guess?
That's a great question too. When I thaw these eggs out, if I'm going to fish in fisheries that require, in my personal opinion, extra chemicals, for instance, okay, I don't often add them at the time of the curing process. A lot of times those go into the equation the day before. So I thaw the eggs, okay, I'll lay them out on paper towels, preferably in Tupperware bins, and then I'll sprinkle the chemicals on that I want to add, that I believe they may want in that particular fishery. Does that make sense? So I'm not putting that stuff in my cure in case I don't fish that fishery, right? If I don't end up fishing that fishery, I don't want to have things in there that I don't need, or I feel like maybe are specific, species specific or fishery specific.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Hell yeah. You think that kind of wraps up our egg segment?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. I would say that's it.
Okay.
I mean,
I just want to make sure to make sure we're covering everything before we start jumping into the shrimp stuff.
For sure.
So cool. Well, now we're going to jump into the ultimate shrimp cure, which we covered pretty well in our last episode. And that looks really good.
I love eggs. I just love them.
Yeah. So the ultimate shrimp cure, you've been getting a ton of stories of successes, whether it be springers, summer steelhead, so on and so forth. But then you've also kind of been hearing some stories of soft shrimp, so on and so forth. What are some things that you can really talk about with people that are having success with the shrimp versus some of the guys that are kind of struggling, getting the softer shrimps and so on and so forth?
This is a big one, right?
Yeah.
I've had some calls, I've had some messages, I've had some things. So when we brought this cure out, we brought it out in January of 24, right? And there was a lot of excitement around it. It was pretty evident. I was getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of messages. The Facebook page blew up. I mean, the followers, it took off like a rocket, a lot faster than I expected, for the lack of better words. Everybody got excited and everybody ran and cured their coon shrimp in January. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people did. Okay. Well, when they did that, we kind of neglected them, because when we threw them in the refrigerator, we threw the cure in, we mixed up, and we did what Keith said to do. We threw the shrimp in, we put the cap on, we threw them in the fridge, and some people didn't get enough extra salt in. Some people just left them to be. If these shrimp don't stay agitated, the juice doesn't stay agitated in some fashion or some form. And what I mean by agitated is to bring them, just shake them once, maybe a week, once maybe every couple weeks, as we get 2-3 weeks down the road into the process. Maybe twice a month from then on, right? Just to agitate those salts and things that are in there that help preserve these shrimp.
Right.
I think if people would have known that, or if I would explain that better, partly my fault, if I would explain that better, I think that would have been a very helpful, right? In keeping these shrimp more firm. Now, again, there's a lot of people out there that had in mind a shrimp that was totally different than I had ever designed, right? Initially, when I designed these shrimp, they weren't crispy shrimp. That was never a fishery that I really ever desired. Like, it was hover fishing, plunking, maybe fishing under a float, that sort of thing.
Yeah, not being whipped behind a 360 in heavy currents.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've got people calling me, and they're messaging me, and I'm going, well, where are you fishing them? And that, trolling them 3 miles an hour. And yes, shrimp can be made to fish that way. Okay, so I'm here to tell, yes, that's we can do that. Okay. The best recipe that I've found with the Ultimate Shrimp Cure is to step back to 4 ounces of dry chemical formula, okay, whether it's the high octane or regular. Okay, so that's 14 ounces in a bottle, right? So just short of a third in ounces. 2.5 cups of water, okay, and then an additional 3/4 to 1 cup of kosher salt.
Right.
Okay, you bring kosher salt into play. It's and a fine kosher salt, not a coarse kosher salt.
Yep.
Something that's going to dissolve extremely quickly, because I want the salt to hammer these shrimp. You know what I mean? I want them to infiltrate these shrimp quickly and thoroughly. Right. That's a big factor. Absolutely a huge factor. So 4 ounces of cure, 2.5 cups of water, 3/4 to 1 cup kosher salt, stuff it with shrimp.
Yep.
Okay.
Half a bottle of Captain Morgan.
They, whoa, curveball. I haven't done that yet.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
done that yet. Maybe somebody wants to try that, right?
Yeah.
This is the fun part about the world of fishing is the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? I'm of the type that I believe every salmon is a biter. I've been proven wrong since I've gotten live scope, let me tell you. My brain is overwhelmed in some of these fishing applications as you troll over so many hundreds of fish, and it's like they're lockjaw.
Yeah. Well, look at the day that we recorded the first segment of this.
Yeah.
How many fish did we put our gear over?
And it came into the gear.
Yeah.
And absolutely came into gear, and we're on the shrimp. It's like the rod's going to go down. The rod's going to go down. And what.
Yeah. And then Clayton starts getting a little antsy. Oh, I'm going to run a super bait, or I'm going to run a naked spinner. It's just, we got that one coho, and it was one of those days. There's no end all be all.
Yeah,
to
saw
this,
7 fish caught for 60, 80 boats.
Yeah.
We were lucky to get one, right? I mean, I feel like that's a successful day given the opportunities and what was presented with us or before us and what results we saw.
Right.
These shrimp, okay, so I'm hearing some phenomenal reports, right? We go back to the spring Chinook season. It did a good job. Like, the shrimp did a good job for those that made the shrimp the week before, right? And brought these fresh cured shrimp that were a week old, did really well in the Drano fisheries, the Wind River fisheries, the tributaries down here in the Lower Columbia. They did really, really well. I was very happy with the successes I was seeing and hearing of it. Right. Take the steelhead, for instance. Okay, when we transitioned to summer steelhead, I've had so many people reach out and say that they had their best year ever on summer steelhead.
Right.
Okay, it was a good banner return. Okay, there was a lot of steelhead that returned this year.
Yeah.
But they, with the Ultimate Shrimp Cure, plunking and stuff like that, especially plunking that lower half of the Columbia, the successes were just off the charts.
Yeah.
I was really, really excited to see that. That was a lot of fun to see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting stuff.
We transitioned to fall Chinook. It's been interesting, right? Here's an opportunity to go troll a spinner blade.
Yeah.
And it's super simple. You don't have a lot of extras that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And they bite pretty well on that stuff, right? But the guys that are running the coon shrimp and are adding the extra kosher salt and doing those necessities, putting maybe a little bit of Procure squid oil in, maybe a little bit of tuna oil, maybe a little bit of a shrimp type oil, those sort of things. Sand shrimp oil, that sort of thing. I'm seeing lots of success picks. Okay, lots of success stories. Downsizing the offerings. That's really been a big thing this year with pro trolling the Columbia River, as far as what I've witnessed and what I'm seeing friends share. Right. When I'm saying downsizing, you get most guys, they run a 3.5 blade. 3.5 size blade, Colorado blades, all sorts of blades, right? I've seen guys running 1.5s,
yeah,
and doing silly good. I mean, little teeny blades like these guys, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just little blades, I want to give a shout out to VIP. VIP. So I get a report from a couple friends of mine. They're just crushing these Kings pro trolling, 1.5 blades. Okay, coon shrimp, ultimate coon shrimp. And so it's like I don't have any of those blades. Like I've never fished those before. So I place an order online. The next day, those blades were on my doorstep.
Oh, really?
Okay. And I know those are stocked around town, right? There's a lot of guys that stock the VIP stuff, Anglers Unlimited, a lot of these guys have that stuff available. But in that moment, I needed those blades ASAP because it sounded like that was a big part of the success. It was. It absolutely was. I was really impressed with the results. So, shout out to VIP.
Yeah, that's impressive. Next day. That's awesome. That's awesome. As we move into this fall Chinook season. I mean, shit, it's September 5th. We're already well into it.
Yeah.
We've been hearing, especially since we went fishing last week, it sounds like the fishing has gone crazy.
Yeah.
I've been stuck at work, but
you had a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. But what are some things in this fall fishery specific that you would do to shrimp, do to these shrimp to help people find more success with them? And as we move further up the river, what are some things that you'll do differently as well?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is getting your texture right. The chemicals that I have in this formula are specific to driving the instinct of feeding, right? So just that in itself, starting with one jar, okay, that's plain, no extra scents, no extra anything. Last year, that was the hot ticket for me. When I was out, trolling out here in my favorite little fisheries, pro trolling my favorite little fisheries, straight coon shrimp, right out of the jar, no extra cents. This year, they've been keying on that ProCure squid oil. They've been keying on tuna oil from the can. They've been keying on ProCure sand shrimp oil. Okay, I'm seeing results with those sorts of oils. Moving above Bonneville, I try it all. I mean, here's a fishery that I don't drive that far myself personally. I'm hearing people tell their stories of successes. I've got some close friends that have been, absolutely doing amazing with the shrimp cure.
Yeah.
For sure up there.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of guys that are up there hovering in Drano right now, hovering eggs and stuff. But when I finally make my way up there, you bet I'm going to give it a shot with some shrimp.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a lot of fun. It would be fun. You can go troll outside the main Drano mouth there and then pop back in, throw floats with eggs and sand shrimp and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm hearing lots of success stories already that way too. That's been a lot of fun. And in the mouth of the Klickitat, that's been another one that's taken off like a rocket. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Mouth of the white salmon, mouth of the shoots. There's fish everywhere.
Any of those cold water influxes, right? So you got 68, 70 degree water in the Columbia River, any of these cold water influxes. And, funny enough, the other day, I went out here to one of my favorite little fisheries and hovered the mouth with eggs and shrimp. Yeah. And everybody's looking at me like, what are you doing? I hooked 4 fish in 40 minutes. Yeah. And JB Barnes was with me. He's there to witness it. People don't do that. They don't hover eggs and shrimp there.
Right.
Guys, it freaking works. I mean, it's like, there's a tip for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You got 150 boats trolling and 100 boats anchor fishing. Why not present differently?
Yeah. Just hover a beta eggs and a sand shrimp.
Yeah.
You can do a coon shrimp too, if you want. I mean, they wreck the coon shrimp. They love them, but yeah, we had JB was pretty blown away by that. He was like, "Why isn't more people doing this?" And I'm like, "Because nobody does this. This isn't normal. It's a monkey see, monkey do world."
Right.
Yep.
And I'm a monkey see, monkey do fisherman.
I was too. Yeah, I absolutely was too.
Yeah. You got any other key points that you want to touch on, shrimp wise, so on and so forth?
I got a couple more in the making.
Yeah.
I've been working on some other formulas behind the scenes. Some things, more species specific. So yeah, that's been an entertaining one. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I can tell those definitely look different than the other ones.
Oh yeah. There's some different chems. There's some fun stuff. That's the big thing here. I hope that when people sit and watch this, I hope they take the time to really think that the sky's the limit, right? Okay. If I can do it, if other big companies can go out there and make stuff, it's fun. It's rewarding to go and mix up some stuff. Now pay attention to what you're mixing. Don't make a bomb. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't go blowing yourself up or have some, be paying attention chemistry wise what you're mixing. I'm not just saying go throw chemicals together, but it is a lot of fun when you formulate something. You go out, you use it on a bait, and it catches fish. It's like, holy moly, now I have something that's completely different than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like I can go at any time of day and use this stuff and know that no fish has smelt it yet.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can tell you myself personally, the last 2 years, I've started getting into curing some of my own shrimp, and now I'm working into learning how to cure eggs and stuff. And you hear the argument sometimes is why not just go buy it from the store? And don't get me wrong, I love my Millennial bait.
Good.
Bill's awesome, one of my great buddies. But there's a certain level of it just gives you a different level of success when something you do yourself works. You know what I mean?
No, I'll give a shout out. Bill makes phenomenal shrimp. I mean, they are great shrimp.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you interested in one of these?
I am interested in one of those. I don't know if I want the 724 or the 624, but
So you can see here, right?
Yeah.
They're sitting. Now, I don't know if the video will pick this up, but that's a clear liquid, right?
right, yeah.
Watch.
Oh yeah,
It's creamed out.
yeah,
And now you want to smell it?
yeah.
Remember, you tried once before. This is a newer batch. I think you might peg me on this one.
Let's see here. Well, I definitely smell squid in there.
Okay.
Something smells alcohol-y.
Might be onto something.
Is there any sand shrimp in there?
I can't say anymore.
Yeah, I definitely get an alcohol-y smell, and I definitely smell the squid.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm lost.
I'm a dispersion junkie.
Right.
Okay. Everybody, the years of successes, okay, and what I've done in the world of fishing, in my little world, right? I just keep pushing the bar, right? I keep going further and I keep going further, and I try to understand why and what. And I've shared a lot tonight, okay, and on the boat here earlier. Yeah. And I hope that people take the opportunity to sit down and listen to what I'm sharing, because this is next level, okay? This is a world that needs to be explored, okay? I genuinely believe that these scents, okay, and you are right. That oil's cut. Okay. I'll say that much.
Right.
And there's lots of stuff in each one of these, but they at times they're next level. I mean, it's not even fair when you can pull into a hole at 10 a.m., use the same eggs that everybody else is using, Ultimate Egg Cure eggs, add that scent, okay, and hook a double.
Right.
When there hasn't been a fish caught in an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the kind of stuff that can be, okay? Take the time, take the effort, experiment, and have fun with it.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of days where you don't catch nothing with that sort of thing. And I went through that for years and years and years, okay? There were many, many, many days that I went out and it was just like, oh, it just kills me. But when you finally start seeing trends and it starts to come together, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Procure and I are in the works. We're going to talk about some of this sort of stuff and maybe see where we go with it, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think if we put this in the hands of the public, I think they'd have a lot of fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? These give you an opportunity to sleep in. Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. You see that one? It went from clear to a strawberry cream.
Is this one different than that one?
It is absolutely different than that one.
Oh, man. Probably just going to smell the same three things, huh?
Probably not.
I still smell the alcohol. Mm-hmm. Is there squid in this one too?
Can't say too much more.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I just wanted you to peg the one piece, because the last time when you smelt it, I handed it to you in fairly, and I expected you to kind of peg what it was, right? Right. And that didn't happen. That was okay. Yeah. Right. But
well, I can be the first to admit too, when it comes to pinpointing smells, you could have a bottle that is purely squid and ask me what it is,
it'd be harder to tell. Yeah. If you're not doing it every day, I completely agree.
Yeah.
But I really want everybody that's sitting down tonight and taking the time to watch this far into this, this episode, to hear what I'm doing here, because this stuff is next level. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
And it's fun to mess with it. And I'll give one last little tip with it: warmer water.
Warmer water.
Warmer water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Spring Chinook, they don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
They want fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Gotcha. Yeah. You got any last little tips or tricks or secret crazy things you want to throw in here before
Jesus, have I not shared enough? Holy moly.
Yeah, you said you got a book up there in your safe.
I do.
I want that guy.
I do. Careful, don't give out my address. Somebody's going to be breaking into here.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
No, I think that's it, man. I really appreciate your time, coming down again and spending time with me, and I really appreciate what you're doing.
Right.
I want people to understand that you're taking a lot of time out of your day, your week, your months, and you're trying to get something off the ground here as well. The WetNet Weekend Report is a really, really cool thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No, for sure. And it's genuinely, there's a lot of people out there in this fishing industry that need to take the time to sit down with you,
right.
okay, and share some of their knowledge and some of their wealth.
Yeah.
Because there's some dudes out there that can fish. Yeah. They can fish really, really well.
Yeah. And
I'm going to probe a few of them and say, hey, go sit down, right? You had Bill on here. You had Jadar on here. I mean, you had some good, you've got, there's some people need to come sit down with you and share some things, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's my opinion.
I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you giving me your time and spilling your guts to a lot of these guys and helping these guys. What I love about what you're doing is you're giving high level information to a lot of kind of beginner guys, and you're making it understandable. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not just speaking gibberish.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So
let's see what they do with it. There it is. It's on a silver platter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. All righty. Well, I think that kind of wraps up this week's episode. As I said in the first segment, I apologize that it's been so long since I've gotten an episode out. We're getting stuff taken care of. Got some stuff I really had to take care of, and we're back. We're back and we're rolling. And these episodes are going to be coming weekly again. And I'm excited to see this thing keep growing. We're going to be doing fishing videos, different levels of things coming to WetNet.
Yeah,
so.
I'd like to come on again some point in time. Yeah. I really enjoy this. It's a lot of fun. And I hope other people see it the same way.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Thank you again to my sponsors, Anglers Unlimited, Talon Rods, North Wild Outdoors, Cold Water Strong, and Fish Sauce. Thank you guys to all my listeners. I appreciate each and every one of you. Congratulations to Cam Flores, just won that nice big giveaway that we did.
God, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
And stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more of those where they come from too. Yeah. Give this video a thumbs up, share it out there with your friends, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Keith on Facebook and YouTube, and because you're putting your own stuff out there on YouTube and whatnot. So
absolutely. Before you get out of here, I'm going to show you 3-4 bottles of shrimp cure to give away.
Yeah, cool, man. Sure. I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
So, alrighty. Well, thank you again for your time, and thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Tight lines.